Hey VC, Big Star 1000's first video in a while. Last one I made was in April, I think, or May. Feeling a bit rusty, but we'll see how it goes. I wanted to make this video because in the past 2-3 months I've set myself the challenge to replay all the albums that I have from the years 2010 to 2019, and through this revisiting of the records came to me the idea of doing a top 25, my own personal top 25, which was expanded to a top 30 because there were other records that I wanted to fit in. And 30 records in one video is digestible, I think. We'll see. You know, what I will say is that the years 2010 to 2019 correspond more or less to my life on YouTube. My first video was posted on the 24th of November 2010, and the VC was a very different place back then. It was just a handful of people. Now it's zillions, and I'm not really following anymore. I'm sort of on the outer. I very rarely watch a VC video anymore. I'm just busy doing other things, I guess, and I wouldn't blame you if you don't watch this video. But if you do, please feel free to leave a comment, say hello and interact. I would love that. And without further ado, I will start because, you know, the blah blah will drive you crazy. So at number 30, the records I've chosen to showcase is the Return album by Deangelo, Black Messiah. Sensual, lush, full of conscious lyrics album. It's the first record that he made in 14 years after the classic Voodoo, which is obviously one of the high watermarks of the 2000s. You know, he plays a host of instruments. You got Questlove on this, Pino Palladino, great record. At number 29, my next choice is the third, I think, Fuck Buttons album. It's called Slow Focus. And why I've decided to include this record is because, well, it's this kind of tribal, drony, dense, repetitive kind of, you know, electronic feast, and I love this stuff. But I saw these guys play that live back in, I think, back the year this came out, and it just blew my mind. And to this day, it's sort of, you know, the show was so intense that this experience is always very enjoyable for me. Try Brain Freeze, the opener. It's the drums, and it's amazing. At number 28, another electronic record, and this one is on CD. So I'll just pull it out, and I'm talking about Swim by Caribou Dan Snaith, Canadian musician, producer. This is a great micro house record. It's very psychedelic, very hypnotic, very lush, kind of, you know, it's kind of really entrance, you know, it sets you into a trance. The opener, Odessa, is magical. You just take a listen to it and I'm sure you'll be convinced. Brilliant record, Swim by Caribou. At number 27, we have a record from this year. And the record is by this band called The Comet Is Coming. And the album is called Trust in the Life Force of the Deep Mystery. It's on Impulse. This is a jazz fusion record, very futuristic, kind of progressive and epic. It's the side project of Shabaka Hutchins, who basically is the granddaddy of the UK jazz scene. I mean, if we could just You know, he's really like on every big project. He's got some form of hand in it, and I will mention his name again later. This is a great record. To me, this sounds like an updated version of Weather Report or Return to Forever. You know, if they were making records in this day and age, but it's a very futuristic take on jazz fusion. I love this record. It's brilliant. At number 26, we have a neo-soul R&B record, which kind of took me by surprise. It's Solange Knowles. She's the little sister of Beyonce. This is a great art pop record. It's full of conscious lyrics, and it's got this kind of bittersweet kind of elements to it. The spoken words interlude tell you a lot about what she feels about black consciousness, and she's very passionate about all this. It's got contribution by the Dirty Projectors, by Lil Wayne, Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child is on this. It's a great pop record, and very, very highly recommended. Next one, number 25, I think, is an ambient drawing record, which I love. It's Tim Hecker's Rave Death 1972. A super drawing-y, super apocalyptic kind of record. Very dense, very atmospheric. Lots of beautiful organs and keyboards layered to infinity. I love the artwork too, which is, apparently a yearly event of throwing a piano from a building, which is interesting. It's the sound of the apocalypse, but filtered through a rainbow, I think, so that we can enjoy it. Number 24, another electronic record, and this record is by one of my favorite artists, Fortet, Kieran Hebden, the English producer, record collector, kind of all-round musical Svengali. This is There Is Love in You. This is Fortet's, I don't know how many albums he's made so far, at least about 10 of them. And this is probably my second favorite album by Fortet. It's really hypnotic, it's playful, it's repetitive without being boring. The opening track as well on here tells you a lot about what the record sounds like. Very melodic, very, very melodic, beautiful. Number 23 is a very, very, very cool sort of, what would you call it? Instrumental hip hop, neo spiritual jazz, neo jazz kind of record on a great label, International Anthem. If you haven't got onto that label, it's really a fantastic label. Everything they release is brilliant. It's Micaiah McCraven, drummer, producer, who goes to 4 cities, London, New York, Los Angeles and Chicago, to make music with different musicians from those scenes. And as I was saying, Shabaka Hutchins and Nubia Garcia appear on this on the London side. So improvised music, it's very tribal, lots of drums, and very sort of rhythmic, jazzy. It's a great record. Very, very highly recommended. The next one is number 22 is this wonderful album by Frank Ocean, Channel Orange, which is such a brilliant alternative R&B kind of record. A little bit of psychedelic soul in there as well, and some hip hop. Lyrics, are very sentimental and also kind of sexual as well. Lots of sexual kind of very, open lyrics. There's a great song called Super Rich Kids on this with Earl Sweatshirt rapping. Very, very, very good record, and just a really, really I think it's the best thing he's done. People talk about Blonde, but I think this is better. To me, it's better. The next one is the return to form by a band from Canada, Godspeed You Black Emperor, a band that hadn't made records for quite a while. I can't remember the hiatus exactly how long it was. This is called Alleluia Don't Bend Ascend. This was released in 2012, I think. This is just a post-rock monster, you know. It's really, really somber, apocalyptic, atmospheric, just, you know, I think it's up there with the best Godspeed. It really is. It's great. The band led by Ephraim Manuel Menak. Is genius. Number 20 is a singer-songwriter record by Gareth Lydiard. This is called Strange Tourist. And this is just a man and his guitar, nothing more, nothing less, in the form of sort of a Nick Drake or Leonard Cohen kind of style, minus the instrumental flourish in the background that you find normally on those artists. This is really, you know, it's very introspective. The lyrics are, you know, at times downright misanthropic, you know, like it's really like sort of, it feels like he has a hatred for the human race at times, or for himself, you know. He's very, very pessimistic, very, you know, but at the same time very passionate about what he's saying. It's a brilliant record. If you like singer-songwriter folk music, this guy is the lead singer in Drones and in Tropical Fuck Storm, two key Australian, oh yeah, he's Australian by the way, yes, two key Australian bands. This is a great record. Number 19 is a project by Nicholas Jar and Daniel, Dave Harrington. It's called Dark Side, and the album is called Psychic. I love this. This is a great electronic, ambient, spacey record. You know, kind of psychedelic and ethereal as well. The keyboards are beautiful. The vocals are sort of spacey and very melodic and very, very easily likable. I think this is a record that everybody should listen to. It's Nicholas Jars also made a great record called Space Is Only Noise. I think very, very, very highly recommended too, but this is the one for me. Number 18 is a sort of Springsteen influenced record. It's The War on Drugs with Lost in the Dream. War on Drugs are a band from Philadelphia, I think, and this is what you would call, like, you know, Americana or heartland rock, but it's a modern take on it. And you know, the vocals are very passionate. It's very summery, very there's a soothing quality to the music. It's very, and you can feel a sense of longing in the lyrics. You know, songs like Disappearing or An Ocean in Between the Waves, just you get this sense of, yeah, longing. It's very, very, very poetic. And as I said, if you like Born to Run, this is like an indie Born to Run, you know, which is not a bad thing. Number 17 is a French album that I really love, and it's by a band, young kids, called La Femme, and the album is called Psychotropical Berlin. This is like a French pop meets B-52s kind of record. That's the best way I can describe it. Surf rock with a bit of alternative rock in there. It's got male and female vocals mixed. It's got Serge Gainsbourg influences in there. It's got, yeah, real like 60s French pop and a real playful kind of element. Very energetic, very bouncy, and I urge you to listen to Anti-Taxi or Ypsoline. Ypsoline is great. I think it's a beautiful song. Next on the list is number 16, and it's a futuristic R&B record. And I'm talking about Janelle Monáe with the Arcandroid. She's made lots of she did lots of projects in past few years, but this is for me a best. This is really the one of the finest moments of art pop, neo R&B kind of the past 10 years. You know, it's got this sci-fi quality to it. Obviously, you can look at the cover, but it's kind of manic as well. Like it's got these tracks, you know, like Tightrope, for example, is really manic. You know, it's got a little bit of, I don't know why, but it reminds me a little bit of Michael Jackson at the time, like really good Michael Jackson. It's very eclectic as an album. There's lots of different styles, from pop to more orchestral things. I love this record. My wife used to love this record. She loves it and she played it a lot, which is why I got into it as well. Number 15, we have the modern answer, in my opinion, to J.J. Cale, Mac DeMarco. This is an album that reminds me a lot of J.J. Cale in its delivery, because it's kind of laid back. And I mean, he's been called lazy in the past. He's not lazy. He's got this quirky way of delivering lyrics, and it's almost not sung, it's almost spoken, you know, the way he sings things, but it's sort of half sung, half spoken. It's very melodic. You can remember the songs instantly, and it's got a distinct sound. That's what I love about this. It's got a real distinct sound. Very laid back, very mellow, beautiful. I don't think he's made a better album since, but I might be wrong. Number 14 is a very, very depressing singer-songwriter record, Benji by Sun Kil Moon. Man, that is a depressing album. Sun Kil Moon, if you don't know, is Mark Kozelek from the Red House Painters. What can I say? This is very somber, very serious, very sad, very. It's full of, you know, love, inflections. You know, like listen to Dogs. Dogs. It's a song for me. It talks about, you know. Losing his virginity to Pink Floyd, something like that. Number 13 is a super duper sort of IDM micro house record. John Hopkins with Immunity. What a great record. This is a brilliant album. He's an English producer, electronic music maker. And, you know, this is that kind of ambient techno, very rhythmic music, very repetitive, but also somewhat complex. You know, somewhat. It's not easy, repetitive. It's full of ideas. Collider and We Disappear, and the title track, the last track, is brilliant. Immunity, great. Number 12. Is one of my favorite musicians of the past 10 years, easily maybe my favorite musician of the past 10 years, and I'm talking about Floating Points. Sam Shepard, UK, electronic music producer, and you know, really a genius. For me, a genius. And Elenia is his first album. It's his best album so far, although Crush from this year is really good. I really like Crush from this year too. This is, to me, a bit like an instrumental version of Talk Talk, like a modern, like the post-rock Talk. This is progressive electronic, but it's got a lot of post-rocky elements. It's very slow building, like when you first turn the record on, nothing seems to be happening, but then it sort of, you know, it sort of happens bit by bit. It's a great record. Elenia. Number 11, maybe a bit of a surprise. A VC favorite a few years ago, Time is a Mountain, with an album called, what's the album called again? Just Time is a Mountain, isn't it? I think it's just called Time is a Mountain, number 1. Time is a Mountain is a Swedish, I think, 3-piece, some futuristic jazz, progressive rock mixed with jazz, very sort of space rock. This was a discovery from I think Anders in Stockholm, who knows this guy. Hello Anders, if you're watching. I find this record really engaging. Really, I mean, I've loved it from the first moment I've got it, and I think it really should be known by more people. It's you know, it's jazzy. It's got this kind of, again, I was talking about The Comet Is Coming and Return to Forever, but this is similar as well. Top 10. Let's move into the top 10. The record that spearheaded the jazz revolution in the 2010s, quite, you know, without a doubt for me, The Epic by Kamasi Washington. Epic in many, many ways, triple LP, just a spiritual jazz monster which can rival with the best of the best in, you know, in the heyday of spiritual jazz, which is between 1965 to 1972, say. We'll just cap it there. But you know, if you like Pharoah Sanders and John Coltrane and the like, this is for you. This is definitely Daniel Ali. It's got vocals as well, like in all good spiritual jazz records. You know, there's always some form of vocal jazz there. It's uplifting. It's, you know, it's a concept record. Obviously, it's highly melodic. It's, you can, you know, I mean, it's a beautiful record. I love The Epic, and I think everybody should own it. It's a great record. Number 9 is another one of my favorite artists of the past few years, and an artist that I was lucky to meet about a month ago in person, and it's Niels Fram, and this is Felt. This is a very wintry sounding record by Niels Fram. Niels Fram is a German pianist who lives in Berlin, and his brand of music verges between modern classical, minimalism, and electronic music. And when I saw him live a month ago, he played a mixture of minimalist music and a lot of really, really high octane electronic music in the style of Boards of Canada, who he's a fan of. But this is really, you know, melancholic, atmospheric. I think he put felt inside the piano to sort of mute the notes a little bit. That's what you get. It's a great make-out record. I'll say no more. Number, what are we? Number 8. Number 8. Look, I really, really, really love this record. I loved it from the moment I bought it. In fact, when I bought it solely based on the cover. I was in a record store. They just received them. There was like 50 of them in front of me, or not 50, but 20. And I thought, no, this looks cool. Let's just take a punt. My Life, Phase. This is a brilliant record. A brilliant record. I've said it. I'll say it again. Live, they're a brilliant act, but on record, what I love about this is that you don't quite know what you're getting there. Is it jazz? Is it pop? Is it crowd rock? It's got all these elements where the mixture is so interesting that you can't define it, or you put your finger on it. It's got this mellow, warm tones, very spacey. It's they're using like Moogs, and the guitar is just instantly recognizable. It's a beautiful record. There's some tracks there like The Magnificent Moon or In Blau, which I would highly recommend that you try. They're from Melbourne. They're a great band. Number 7. Okay, well, this will come as a shock to nobody. This is a Moonshade Pool by Radiohead. I think one of the best Radiohead records, full stop, maybe top 5 for me. This is a totally brilliant record. I think that they really, after King of Limbs, which was really disappointing, this is just like brought them back to the fore. It's got some of crowd rock elements in there, chamber pop elements. Obviously it's an art rock record, so you get lots of really clever kind of, the lyrics are clever, the production is clever, it's beautiful. It's also ethereal, it's got existential themes on there. I really love Desert Island Disc on it. I don't know why, it just does something for me. The acoustic guitar in there is beautiful. Tom York's a genius. The album I released this year too, Anima, is really worth hearing. Very, very good. Number 6 is also a no-brainer. Number 6 is the final album by Mr. David Bowie, as they say in England, Black Star. A totally perfect record, really. I mean, well, of course he died and everything, but if he hadn't died, it still would be a great record. It's very dark. It's very, very anxious. Very, what would you say? Very also existential. I was talking about existential with this, but I think very ethereal. You know, it's a very ethereal record. Lazarus, what a great song, and just everything is so good on this. Everything, the package, everything is good. Now for the top 5 records of the decade, according to me, nobody else, just me. One from this year, which I've not stopped playing. I played it non-stop, and it sort of resonated to me in ways that I didn't really expect. It's the latest album by Wise Blood, Natalie Merring, Titanic Rising, a beautiful concept album. I often describe her as a cross between, say, Karen Carpenter and Kate Bush, because you've got this kind of like clearly like 70s California rock, California pop rock influences, which is melded with kind of art pop leanings of Kate Bush, lots of synth and beautiful like arrangements. And to me, you know, it's brooding, it's lush, and it's sentimental, it's introspective. The first song is called A Lot's Gotta Change, and when I discovered this song, the lyrics touched me directly because my wife died last year, and it almost felt like she was speaking to me directly. You know, a lot's going to change in your lifetime, but you're going to make it. Sort of, that's the sentiment. And this song made me really like it. Sort of, it touched me in ways that I didn't think it would. Andromeda, Everyday, Movies, blah 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 blah. This is such a good record, and I'm going to see it live in 2 months' time. Number 4. Sorry, I have to reach because it's a bit far there. Number 4 is a French solo piano record, which you might know nothing about, which is probably good. This is Yann Tiersen. He's the guy who composed the Amélie soundtrack. And this is him in Abbey Road, solo piano pieces in the vein of Eric Satie, of Chopin, of Debussy. A really, really contemplative kind of beautiful, soothing, peaceful, lush, really, really minimal record. But I play it all the time, and when I got it in 2016, I bought it pretty much on the strength of loving Yann Tiersen. I mean, I love the guy. I didn't know what the record sounded like. I just bought it. It was just there. I was in France at the time, and it was just there in the shop in front of me. I just fell in love with it instantly. It's a beautiful record, and I just play it all the time. It's just a beautiful. I love this. You know. There you go. Number 3, a band that went away and came back stronger. LCD Soundsystem with American Dream. In my opinion, one of the best records. One of my favorite. Like, you know, people will say Sound of Silver or maybe maybe the debut record. But this, to me, it just ticks all the boxes. It's kind of this kind of new wave synth pop, dance punk explosion. It's very nihilistic though. It's got some very pessimistic lyrics on it. Very very matter of fact, like life is not so good after all. Very anxious, very dark. James Murphy is a genius. I've said that many times on my channel, and I continue to love what he does. Oh Baby, I Used To, Change Your Mind, How Do You Sleep, Call the Police. Call the Police is such a great track. I highly recommend this record. Number 2, I've talked about this record so many times, you know, it's no surprise. It's the 3rd album by Bad Bad Not Good, which I think is a masterpiece. Again, you know, like a modern take on Weather Report, but with a 3-piece and a bit more repetitive, a bit more, feels like more like an instrumental hip-hop record, but through a jazz fusion filter. I really love this kind of nocturnal vibe. You know, it's good to play. This is good to play at night. Very good for the evening. Don't play this in the morning. It won't do anything for you. It's an evening record, and it's slush. And I love the keyboard. The sax on it is brilliant. Oh, what a band! They're from Canada. If you haven't checked them out, you know, check them out. And my favorite record of the 2010s, you know, here is a band that's released, I think I've counted 5 records in this decade. So their appearance on this list is it's not a surprise. I mean, you release 5 records in 1 decade, you may as well have one that's a real winner. And this record is important to me in many different ways. It is Teen Dream by Beach House. Very highly melodic, dream pop, indie pop, psychedelic and kind of, you know, dreamy. And I mean, it's called Teen Dream for no other, you know, that's it. It's really dreamy. I love her vocals. Victoria Legrand is amazing. She sounds like a man, but she's a woman. Arrangements on keyboards are great. Alex, the interplay between her and Alex Scully, the guitar player, it's, you know, they're the best sort of musically sounding, the best pairing you can imagine. They just work so well together. This record was important to me because Sarah loved it. Sarah was a very big fan of that record. We went to see them live on that tour. And you know, there's songs that are just etched in my mind. Walk in the Park, Used to Be, Norway. It is just such Zebra. Silver Soul is brilliant. 10 Mile Stereo. 10 Mile Stereo is a great song too. Okay, there you've got it. It's my top 30 of the 2010s. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but in any case, you know, interact. That'd be great. Thank you, VC.